Well, hey everybody in the VHR, thanks again for watching my videos. I'm going to go ahead and do a review of our heroic kills. Remember, tonight we're going to be doing Archimond. We'll probably have to do Mana Rot, then Archimond, and then we're going to be doing Arch again on Thursday to get him in a position to either get the kill at some point or, you know, continue to press on him, get the reps in, try to improve. Remember, on Sunday and Monday we're going to be focusing on doing whatever we need to do as far as cleanup. So we might, on Sunday for example, do normal bosses 7 through 11 at that point to get the tier pieces and maybe get a couple other pieces, just see how that works out, and then we'll press back into doing heroics as we can. If we get the kill on Archimond, then we're immediately going to go into heroics and start working on Gorefiend forward. Okay, we're going to try to replicate the 7 kills that we got the week before, if not get more, plus get the Archimond in there too, clear as much material as we can, and then press into the next week. Okay, so that's a heads up for what we're doing. Now let's focus on the logs over here. Okay, overall on Hellfire Assault, the big element is that we ended up having some really good execution, and then we had some really mediocre execution. And what we really need to do is, if you're not taking the time, just ask me. I'll gladly put together a video for you too of how we can sit there and improve. Overall, we have some really high DPS, but for example, you know, 43k, 50k for example from Boom, but yet that's a bracket ranking of 19 and 17. So clearly what we have here is a failure to communicate. Now, it's probably focused more on just like we're not getting good AoE burst when we can. So what we need to do is make sure that we start looking into where, you know, these single digit brackets and things like that, and see what we can do to really put ourselves in a position to improve. Now, some of the steps that I wanted to highlight for myself, for example, overall I ended up bracketing pretty well on this one. I got a 66%. My ranking position was 51%. One of the elements that I noticed after reviewing my own logs from last week was that I wasn't using Holy Shock anywhere near as much as top performers were. So what I did was I went to my Reek Auroras file, and after doing some searching, I found one for Holy Shock specifically, where it gives me a cooldown count clock plus an image of it, and then I associated, me and Alec worked on this a few nights ago, I associated with it a noise. So every time it comes off cooldown, which is in between every 3 to 5 seconds, I'm going to hear basically a bicycle horn. It's a little unnerving at first, especially under the stress of trying to do the content and, you know, work with what's going on and calling it out and whatnot. It's a little stressful at first, but eventually it starts to become a pattern, and you start hearing it, and then you start doing it. So it's definitely Pavlovian. You know, the reward, of course, would be the better performance and also the boss kill. But overall, it definitely conditions you to start improving and start using it. And I think from this fight, from the week before to this week, I've improved in my bracket percentage by like 30%. So if, for example, you're having an issue along those lines, I would go ahead and suggest that you go ahead and try and find something along those lines to help you out. Another element too is check out add-ons. One that Murphy recently spoke to me about, and also Baloney, shouts out to both of you. In the conversations that I had with both of them, it ended up coming along that Bitten Spell Flash, and then there was another one that I linked on the website for Smizzy and his review that I did earlier that highlighted it's a rotation basically, just like Reek Auroras. It's just somebody made it for Retribution Paladins. So there might be something like that for you, where it just is going to highlight like do this next, do this next, do this next. It's going to have an image pop up so you know exactly what's going on there. And then, for example, like if you have low cast, you need to go into key binding and start key binding elements, so that way you can get faster and faster with it and make it where everything is done through your keyboard, and really you're just using your mouse for control, for example, or mouse over principles. Okay, let's go to the next fight. The next fight that we have was Iron Reaver. We had a wipe on Iron Reaver, and that was really just a matter of position. We ended up improving a lot better overall. We had a lot more people that were in higher percentile, were in the green. So when I start seeing green, that's really great. But we also had a couple of individuals that didn't quite hit where we wanted it to for single target. And I know that, for example, like on Boom, I believe that's a death, for example. I'm not really sure if Saki died also. I remember him dying in one of the fights, but I'm not sure. But overall, we still have some observations here. Now, this fight is two elements. One, the boss is standing still. So at that point, really, like, it should be just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. Like, we're just, we enter the first round and we activate everything. We have to remember to do that and really push, the boss as hard as we can to get as much done as we possibly can. So make sure that you're taking a look at this log specifically, this group right here. Smizzy, I covered yours in a video. Margrave, I'm not really worried about your damage because if you look at your overall defensive bracket, that's what I want to see consistently. If you're tanking, for example, we need to make sure that the overall amount of damage that you're taking is mitigated as much as possible. So great job there, saying to LeVixen. Gore again, another green bracketed. Way to go, man. Always on top. Nothing I can say. Chikara has also been improving too, so let's keep that up. Let's keep on getting our bracket percentages up and focus on that as consistently as we can. I'm not sure on potions consistently, but for example, if you're missing out on potion opportunities, make sure that the easiest way to do it is like if we don't call, like we're always going to pre-pot, right? So say for example later in the fight, like we're like, okay, well let's use your pot at, third group coming out. If you're having issues with remembering doing it, for example, then just use it next time all your stuff's on cooldown. Just like next time you rotate into your modifiers that increase your overall damage through your cooldowns, just rotate it into that. Because like at 2 minutes, right? Like say pull, we're gonna have a hero pull, and we know that there's going to be a pre-pot, we know there's going to be a ring, and you're going to be using your cooldowns. Well, in 2 minutes, that ring is more than likely going to be clicked again by Gore, because Gore likes cracking skulls, okay? So if that occurs, then at 2 minutes that you can just rotate into your next rotation, and that's a great opportunity for spikes. But, for example, it could hurt you if there's mechanics that involve you having to run all over the place, to break all those cooldowns and then all of a sudden not be able to use them. So it's still appropriate when you want to use them and how to use them. So, just make sure that you're taking the time to look at it and doing what you can to make sure that you get it. And also, too, I want to point out that, rank-wise, our rank is pretty good. Like, we can improve, but it's pretty good. On Cormrock, we had a wipe there, too. And that was because of hands. We've adjusted that. But this right here, we have really got to address this. And what this is right here, from what I've seen from most of what I was looking at, is that we're not rotating properly into our multi-targeted attacks when the hands come up. We were having two issues. One, hands were grabbing us and we weren't breaking the hands as fast as we could. And the second element was that we weren't, we weren't dealing with the runes properly. So we've adjusted that in our strategy. Runes are everyone's responsibility, and I don't care for 10 seconds that you're not hitting the boss. You need to go and help with runes until the runes are done. It's at least, if we've got an issue with them, especially when grasping hands start coming up consistently at the same time, which we saw around like the third and fourth rotation, everybody needs to be on them, okay? So again, if your bracket percentage is in the gray here, please do a review and make sure that you notice what's going on there so that way you can fix it. And again, Margrave, great job. You got a 98% on your bracket on this execution here. So very well done, man. Well done indeed. Let's see on potions. Okay, so on potions, we've got 1 DPS, 2 DPS, 3 DPS, 4 DPS that didn't use a secondary potion. So make sure that you're using them on a consistent basis. Overall damage taken wasn't too bad. Tamel and Smizzy, you got hit quite a few times, so make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on the ground. This is when Margrave was caught in Crush. He was trapped by a hand for 17 seconds. Like, all these times need to come down big time, okay? Let's see, next part. Let's go to Hellfire Council, right? So again, let's look at potions. Opportunity missed on potion. So let's make sure we're using 2 potions, right? Saki, great job. I noticed on most of the fights last night, your overall damage is improved. Your use of potions has improved. And also, watch when I start showing you, for example, the last 2 attempts, like the Gore attempt, you were able to get almost like 95% on your sniper training. So that's really good. Okay, so let's see, rankings. So on this rankings, the execution, again, we have some issues all throughout here that we need to make sure that we're taking a look at on this one here. and doing what we can to improve. LeVixen, great job on 82% as tank, working through the target. It seems like there was some damage mitigation that we could have improved on here, so Margrave, make sure you take a peek on that and see what we can do to make some adjustments to be able to help you, like whether it's externals or things like that. Anything we can do to help you, like when the debuff comes through, we can make sure we throw an external on you consistently to help you there. But overall, again, we need to make sure that we're doing the reviews here. Anytime that we have gray present on a log, you need to make sure you're taking a look at it and at least spending 5, 10, 15 minutes worth of time to make sure that you're in a position to be able to fix whatever the issues might be involving it. I think that this here is probably relative, for example, because like the bosses just stand still, and there's some great opportunities to ramp up, so we probably just didn't ramp up as best we could. And like at the end of the fight too, like we crawled through the wind on that one. We got to tighten up on the execution on that one. On Deadeye, we actually got an 85 percentile ranking, so it's one of the best executions for our item level that you could have gotten. We're only 15% from having the best at 702.9, so great job to us there. We got the achievement where the dude would live through it, which is nice. Margrave got a 91%, got Gorzane and Chikara both really high, Gore again a 95 percentile. So just make sure, again, if you see yourself here in the gray, make sure that you're doing a review and make adjustments as you need to. Now I know that there's a lot of ads going on here, so sometimes, for example, tunneling occurs, and then individuals are going to naturally do more damage because they're going to have the debuff. But that doesn't change. For example, like when you have the debuff and you go inside, like you should come out and absolutely be blowing up everything that you can get your hands on. So make sure that you're reviewing the logs on the best way to kind of go about this by comparing yourself to somebody else that did it. On Killrog, like I said, what you want to compare, it would be somebody who did like 100,000. Look at like their targeting and look at how they adjusted to it to work through it. Last one, check on flash or potions again. Potions, we had a lot more use, so we only had one DPS not use a potion on that rotation on that kill, so good job there. And then overall damage, avoidable damage here, I think that's probably Heartseeker. Yeah, Heartseeker does a ton of damage. We want to make sure that we're using there is Hands of Protection. I used like 3 in that fight, and then I called out for 1. But in the future, like if we have 2, 3, 4 paladins, 10 paladins present like we do, Hands of Protection completely eliminates as far as the damage that Heartseeker does. So in the future, just make sure that we're using them, because this is a lot of avoidable damage, especially on our healers, that we could take off with no problem. Okay, so let's just make sure, eyes on it and do our best to work with it. Final boss that we had, we did some attempts on Gorefiend. What I want to show is just the last attempt where we got him down to 15%. We missed out on a potion use there, but that's about it overall. Big thing is right here. As far as for damage, this was damage done from Digest. He consumes the individual, spends 40 seconds inside, so that means Boom died inside of his stomach. Alright, so just make sure that you're paying attention for that. We also had some targeting issues, so make sure that we're focusing on making sure that we're targeting everything as properly. It's ads on that fight. So when it comes along, just make sure that's what you're looking for and then adjust accordingly and go after him. Potion use looks pretty good on this fight also. There's no rankings really available for it, so we'll take a look at. Overall, this is the one that I wanted to show Saki. High five, Saki. Look at that. Baller status. See? I told you the potential's there. I told you. Right? Same here, too. Like everybody's got some really high throughput coming out. So let's make sure that we continue to work on that and continue to work on our rotations and doing the best we can. If you have any comments, please post them below. Or, for example, if you need to talk to me directly, please do so in-game or via email, whatever. You know all the ways to contact me. If you like the video, please click like. If there's any observations or whatnot that need to be made involving what I stated, please make sure that they're corrected in the discussion below. Have a blessed day. I appreciate your time watching the video. Thank you.